AI is changing banking today and how it will change banking industry and financial industry in the future?
So maybe I'll start this one. So we're starting top down, right? So from a strategy perspective, first thing I would like to tell you that, as you said, both investing in data platforms and AI platforms is nothing new in Polish banks. It not only we are experimenting with it, we are doing successful project. I believe there are some other guys up there that you can ask them about both Infonina and Open API platforms that they were first in the market, I believe, which was part of at the moment. And the second part, the second thing I would like to point out that the problem, I would say, challenge with such innovative solutions like AI platforms, like cloud or other big investments, is something that usually make people like technology tremble. So this is a magic word business case, right? So you usually come to the board saying it's hype, it's a nice tool, it's something that will change the world, and they will ask you what is the time to market and the return on that, and you say right. So this is very hard to define. Then I have one way to explaining to them how you can justify the investment, but that is a customer perspective, right? So we have at the moment we are in a situation that I'm calling post-digital world. This is data-driven or whatever you call it. So we have a situation that both product-driven marketing is no longer working. So differentiation by products and also digital investment in UX, so this is commodity. So every bank has the same product. Everybody has digital, in Poland at least, mobile application. It is commodity. So the only difference is one of them is painted red and one of them is painted other color. So this is the thing, and customers on the other side are on much farther than we are. So they are not requesting products; they are requesting service with embedded value, and they are also in a situation that you cannot drive them to buy a product with price. We are slowly in the moment growing GDP and salaries. They are so much requesting additional value that they are even willing to pay premium to financial products if you give them values. So if you want to do that, give a value to the customers, and that requires a lot of personalization, hyper personalization even, and a lot of value beyond your traditional core products. If you want to do that, you need to invest into data platforms and AI. So you cannot provide. And you cannot provide service to everyone. We are in the situation that banks are trying to find a niche. For instance, if you look at some banks in Polish market, they're trying to find a market niche because they are strategically deciding we are not willing to service everyone because we will miss mandates if you want to service them with. And this is a real trouble. So if you want to justify big investment that needs a scale, and if you want to be scale, you need a lot of mandates, and this is a vicious cycle, especially with a large project like AI.
Okay, so maybe Katarzyna?
Yes, thank you very much. I think that everybody is excited about the generative AI, as Rafał presented on the stage, and I am personally excited too. And as an expert or specialist working on this post-digitalization, still improvements in digital world, I think that I'm excited. But when I am joining the management board and where I am joining my team and discussing with the colleagues from the legal, from the compliance, for sure it's the first question. If it's regulation on the very finally driven by the regulation environment, banking and financial sector, it is clear what we can or what we cannot. It is the first constraints. The second is if we have the idea what is the the use case, yes, which will bring finally the benefits to the bank, as Mariusz said, because finally we are bankers and our shareholders is waiting for the profits, not only for the very exciting new technology will be implemented in their business. For sure, for the end, it is the question about the risk. What is your appetite for the risk? Because finally, we don't know how to manage the risk with this so fantastic innovation. But still, we see that most of our portfolio budget we are spending for the security. That's why I am very excited, but from the perspective how we will use it and how this bring the value for the customer, but with the very secure environment, we finally today, I think, don't know. And maybe it is the right story about how the financial sector going to the cloud, that maybe with the AI, not having the regulation, not having the strong business cases, and not having the right competence and knowledge inside the banks, it will be very difficult, the same story as with the cloud.
Okay, when I was talking about some challenges with data platform and data, I didn't mention this because of lack of time, but I totally agree that these legal elements, compliance elements, especially when compliance want to have stricter internal rules than are required by the law. And Miroslav, what do you think about AI in banking now and in the future?
Yes, so first of all, I'd like to attest to my colleagues have said so far. So what we see in our research is confirming what they said. So most of the banks that we talk to, and we do quite large research on the topic. We interview over 500,000 sort of not only decision makers, but end consumers as well. So we do quite robust research, and we see that about 70% of the companies we speak to about AI say they're adopting some sort of AI technology because it's an umbrella term, as we all know. And the remaining, I think, 20 are planning, and only 10 are not really thinking about it at the moment. So, that confirms that banks have already experimented with different technologies and use cases as well, mainly in sort of, advanced analytics, I would say, using chatbots maybe to automate some of the customer facing sort of processes and so on. So most of the banks that we speak to are really now focusing on the sort of lowering or increasing efficiencies, maybe lowering the friction in some of the activities that are sort of lose in terms of the main stakeholders. If you look at, the main stakeholders being maybe customers, the company itself, and the employees, you have processes where you have a lot of friction, like in customer service, because customer service agents need to go into a variety of systems to be able to respond to certain customer issue. So there is a frustration on the customer side, there's frustration on the agent side, and there's also frustration from the financial perspective of the company because these things cost a lot of money. So people now are trying to use AI in different technologies to sort of throw it into these areas, and bring some quick wins.
A must for financial institutions, in your opinion?
I think if we want to have the expected by shareholders, customer, the cost to income ratio on the very acceptable level or satisfied level, for sure. Yes, that's why we need to be positive, and for sure we are looking for few use cases, and as you said, we are looking, okay, what can be in the toolbox of our employees, yes, to have the better productivity and the better efficiency, and having for sure the challenge with the new employees from the Gen Z generation, yes, for sure this toolbox which we'll have inside the generative AI possibilities is something very important. The second, we know that for sure world is starting to be more and more complex, yes, and for customer it's difficult sometimes to find the right information, right journey, yes, he needed the support and help, and for sure today we have the automation and the some chatbots and telebots which are helping customer, but for sure can be for sure very interesting journey that we will have the comprehensive solution, not fully lost the investment from the existing models, but to have the comprehensive solution working together with the generative AI inside. And for sure, this personalization which you presented on the data platform, yes, it is something what is customer expecting, as Mariusz said, on this added value services, because we can offer long list, but for sure customer will finally say, what is the long list bullshit? They don't know still what I need. That's why for the hyper personalization and for personalization and the customer satisfaction for the end, I think that we will for sure look on it and see the potential in this area.
I totally agree, and especially the last thing that you rephrased what Mariusz said, because the customers don't want to have a credit card, don't want to have a banking account or credit. They just have some needs, and financial products are just only the way to fill those needs.
I will give you an example. I did some I would say experiment at home with ChatGPT. I asked the ChatGPT what should be the value in financial product for a customer which is not driven by price, which is not deal seeker, but is eco-friendly, eco-aware customer. And guess what the ChatGPT told me? Charge less on, give him less on deposits, but use the rest for charity. If you give some of the proceeds instead to him to charity and maybe add some on your own, that gives an incentive for customer to use your product. It's in general, there are growing segments of customers that are driven by values, not by price. Again, and you can adapt your products to the level that the value is much more, I would say, able to solve the customer because you give him something beyond product. And this is a reality. So the number of customers that are driven by price are decreasing very strongly, especially assuming in the world of growing GDP. So if you want to give value, we need to invest into the hyper-personalization, need to invest into data, we need to know about him more. And what is more than data bank possess, in fact, the customer. For instance, Google has a lot of data about us, but this is mostly data about, I would say, intents, right? So we are searching something in Google, and they know what you're thinking. But what is the real value that you spend money on? So if for instance, if you couple that data of Google with data of banks or other, I would say, financial decisions, which is a very powerful tool for customer profiling.
Yes, we did some kind of project in which we, for example, used in customer segmentation data from customer transactions, spending structure, places where customers doing shopping, because sometimes there are comparisons like age, wage, and so on. But more similar are customers who are spending money on the same things, and it's very useful to use those factors also in segmentations and so on. And Miroslav, how do you think? Is AI a must for financial industry?
Definitely, financial industry is one of the industries where you have a lot of sort of human computing going on. So that's where things like generative AI, for example, as one of the technologies, is going to have a huge impact. So I think yes, but you need to sort of look at the characteristics of the industry, and what shapes it. The heavy regulation, of course. You have commoditization of services to a high extent, as was mentioned already. So you need to look at these specifics, and it's just one of the industries where AI is going to play a big role, really. But of course, it's going to be slightly different than in other industries. But I think the early indications are that the value that can be sort of achieved, the additional value that comes with greater productivity, and maybe on the upside, on the revenue side as well, with data monetization and things like this. It's huge for financial industry. The early indications is quite big, yeah. And we mentioned the monetization of data. Some of the previous colleagues have spoken about it as well. It's an interesting topic because, the large models that are being developed by huge technology companies, as we heard, they spend a lot of effort and time and money. They throw it on training their models, but what they don't have is some of the specific data that banks have, like transactional data, and banks tend to know quite a lot about our behavior. So, I can imagine a future in which there'll be trade-offs, between these giants and banks in terms of not only, you can monetize the data, but you can maybe swap, data for more advanced technology and so on. So I can imagine that future as well.
I think that it's good that the regulation will be finally fixed, and we will have these two acts. Yes, everybody is waiting. That's nice, because finally we will have some process of education of our customer. What is their security? Yes, and how they will be saved from the perspective of this digital act. And second, for sure, the company will have maybe the regulation which will give the list of the rules, and that will be more clear what we can, what we cannot, from the perspective of the second regulation, meaning the Digital Market Act. And it is very good. For sure, we will look for our KNF decision, yes, because as Bartek said, the cloud was discussed, and for sure AI will be on the very big scale discussed too. That I think that it is some open window, yes, to do the next step and to select some proof of concept. For sure, for me, will be the challenge connected with the internal knowledge, and for sure the support of the external companies from the technology, from the compliance, legal aspects. It will be needed, because if you not have inside the very strong innovation lab team, it will be difficult to start from the scratch, not have any support. And for sure we need to work for the reskilling of our people going to this direction, and it is the investment too. It's take the time and it's take the money. Yes, that you have few elements which finally will have on your business case list of the costs you need to expect on this investment.
Just one thing to add, and one thing from a regulatory perspective is also lurking, what we probably know. We call it PSD3 or whatever, right? So there are some other acts waiting to be introduced, like open finance, open data, right? So if I were for instance, insurance industry, I would be heavily investing into open data and AI, because in a moment when you you were like banks were forced to open their data with PSD2, if the insurance should be forced to expose the insurance data, which was Saint Graal for years, if they would be forced to expose this data. So I'll be already experimenting with Azure banking, because in the future banks will do the bank assurance in a way that we will not even imagine at the moment.
And Miroslav, what is your perspective of
Yes,
factors that could prevent banks from using AI?
Yes, I'm just looking at this research again, and I'm going to read it loud. So the question is, which could be or are the biggest challenges to your organization when using AI technologies? And there are multiple answers, but 20% lack of skills to implement and operate these systems. Lack of skills to develop AI solutions. So coming back to what was already said about the lack of skills, and the people side of the things, that's going to be hugely important. And banks are going to, as an industry, or financial services will compete for talent in various new skills, like advanced data scientists, and all the rest of it. We also heard about it. And with these technology giants, and startups and all the rest of the ecosystem. So are they going to win this? It's going to be difficult, for banks, I think, given, banks are inherently attractive for people who have who prefer a more stable environment, of course, and they have a long-term perspective on their careers, maybe, and is this the same characteristic you need with people like these? It's going to be difficult.